Okay, well, one of the major issues that I've found, probably the most major issue, aside from the fact that there is no motor, one of the most major issues I've found with this tractor so far is this front spindle here is seized up just tighter than a politician's pocketbook. It will not turn. I have taken the steering linkage loose and tried to get it free. It's not moving very much right now. I was tapping on it with a hammer, and of course you can see I've started to kind of flare that out a little bit, so I had to stop that. I'm gonna have to find another method of getting that out. I'll put a little grease in that grease cert there, and maybe get a pipe. I don't have one here at the time that will fit over this. The spindle's in fairly decent shape. It is a little worn right here. You can see a groove right there, and as loose as those wheels are on there, I'm not a bit surprised. I figured it'd be worse than that, so I'm not terribly upset about that. It's got these little plastic bushings. One goes on the inside of the rim, and then there's another one that goes on the other side of the rim, and they just slide on there. Got a little plastic grease cert there. There's no bearings, of course, on this particular model, so you just have that bushing there, and that's what the wheel rides on. And then you can see how it just slips into the back of the wheel like that. And then of course there's another one on this side, a little bit different shape, similar though. So I'll have to replace all those, because as you can see, I mean, both tires are the same way here. It's just as loose as they can be. They just wobble all over the place. That's not going to work, of course. So I'll have to, once I get this spindle where it'll turn, I may have to go to a buddy's house and see if he's got some pipe. I don't have any here that will slide over that, but I'm gonna have to get a cheater pipe on there, and after I get that grease cert greased really well, see if I can work that loose. Of course, then I'll have to buff out that spot that I messed up right there. But I mean, it is what it is. It's not that big a deal. It's fixable. It's just not great. Another thing I noticed on this thing is that this steering column is just as loose as it can be. There's a bushing right there that is just shot, and then there's another bushing that goes in between here, up above this piece of metal here, and for this pinion gear. And I'll have to pull the steering column, I'll have to pull that pinion gear off of there, and then I'll have to replace that bushing up there, and that's gonna fix all that. Looking at this, I think that pinion gear is still probably in pretty decent shape, but if it's not, I can pick one of those up. They're not terribly expensive either. That will get pretty much all of the steering components in good shape. And then of course, I mean, whenever they pull this motor out of here, they just hack that wiring harness all up. Of course, granted, it's a little bit different than the motor I'm gonna put in it. The motor I'm gonna put in it, I think I said on the other video, will be a 18.5 horse single cylinder Briggs & Stratton, where this had a V-twin 27 horse Kohler on it originally. So the wiring harness may be a little bit different anyhow. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the wiring harness and the motor and the whole thing off of the Cub Cadet LT 1018 that I just had sitting at the house. It's got a good motor on it and everything works on it, so I may just take the whole assembly apart and put the whole thing on here and just do it, use it as is. Like I said, this is just a little, kind of going to end up being basically a UTV for me. I'll just use it around the house and do my little projects out on the farm and that sort of thing, and pulling trailers, and it should work just fine. If I find anything else that may be of interest, I will definitely post a video. But as of now, it is hot outside, and I live in Texas, and so if anybody knows anything about Texas, we have 4 seasons here. We have almost summer, we have summer, we have still summer, and we might as well be summer. So right now it is mid-October, about the middle of the month of October, and it is 94, 95 degrees outside right now. We do have a little bit of cloud cover right now, so I've got a little bit of shade, but it's still hot, and I don't like to sweat. So I don't know about you, but that's just not one of my favorite things to do. So I believe I will call this project a day, and I may come out here this evening once the sun goes down a little bit and it's not beating down on the back of my neck quite so hard, but maybe mess with it a little bit more this evening. But as for right now, I believe I will go inside and have a glass of iced tea.